What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast. We're here to talk about the trade deadline, the big, huge name-stealing trade deadline that the New York Mets had, along with the Minnesota Twins series. And we have an interview from Mets 8th-round pick Ryan Lambert. Yes, the boys were first. This is who we told you we were going to get. We got Ryan Lambert. He's a fucking dog. He's awesome. Can't wait for you guys to listen to that. Make sure you stick through to the end so you can hear everything that we have to say with him as well. But you guys know the drill before we get going into this. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Yeah, changing it up a little bit. Started the intro differently. Like, comment, subscribe. We got to 5,000 subscribers. Appreciate all you guys over there.
5,100 now.
5,100 now. 5,100 subscribers. Appreciate you guys. Remember to follow us on all our social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you are listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. We are doing voice messages at the end of this episode, along with reading out the reviews. So a lot of shout outs to come. Make sure you stick around to it. James, I've been talking to you for a lot. I mean, we were together for like 8 hours.
Almost too much.
Yeah, a lot of time yesterday, a lot of baseball talk, but we have not yet spoke with the Mets'd people about this trade deadline recap. Want to bring us through all the guys that we traded for, and then we'll go through and say what we think about all these guys?
Totally. I think just even first to take like a large overview of all of it, I think the Mets had one of the better trade deadlines in baseball. As crazy that might be for some people to hear. I know everyone loves hearing a grade. I think it was such a clean, solid B, which I think in terms of the league was really good. The only teams I think were buyers that actually did better than the Mets were the Yankees, who almost stole Jazz Chisholm, and the Dodgers, who just they filled every single hole they had without giving up a very elite prospect. And after that, I would say the Phillies
probably.
I don't know. The Phillies almost gave too much for Estevez. I can't put them on the same level. They filled a bunch of holes. Hayes is fine. Like, I thought they could have gotten a better outfielder or a better reliever, and then they gave up two. They gave up two bullpen pieces that might be better than Carlos Estevez the rest of the year, which is why I can't
possibly. But Sir Anthony was broken in Philly. Like that was a change sceneries move for sure.
I really like George Klassen, the starting pitcher they moved, and the other pitcher they moved in low A, Spencer Algieri. Nice Paisan boy.
They are
big lefty that misses a lot of bats.
Yeah, but I thought the Mets had a good one. I gave them a B+. I gave more higher grades on the A's for people. A lot of the sellers, I think, got A's too. But in terms of buyers, definitely Dodgers, Yankees. I agree with you. I think you can make an argument for the Phillies, and I think you can make an argument for the Orioles. Those are the other two ones that I think you could say maybe had a better deadline than the Mets.
Totally. Orioles are the one I probably would, but they made so many weird trades. I'm just like, I don't know. And then they just, but now we're talking about too many other teams that are not the Mets on the Mets podcast, but I thought the Orioles and the Phillies had a golden opportunity for a kill shot that they didn't exactly take. I thought that what they had in their farm system, more so the Orioles and the Phillies might have traded their best prospect for a reliever that is their own fourth best reliever, which I think just building through that logic, to me, that feels a little weird.
Pump the brakes. He's a guy in A-ball still. Pump the brakes on an A-ball pitcher. Pitching prospects are fake.
Sure. I said that might be their best prospect. That was their
Andrew Painter.
Andrew Painter is fake until he pitches. Truthfully, he is.
You can't say that. Okay, whatever. We're not going to have this argument here.
What about Tiedemann? What's the difference between Painter and Tiedemann? Come on, the same thing. These guys get hurt, they don't come back.
Painter was going to be at the major league level today. Tiedemann still was like, we need to see more before he gets to the major league level.
No, pitching that's extra fake with a pitching prospect where they just don't pitch and people think they're really good. But back to the Mets. Sorry for arguing 3 minutes, not the Mets. Mark and I were complaining that we talked all day yesterday about the trade deadline. We still had unfinished takes about the trade deadline. However, Mets did really well. We got Jesse Winker over the weekend, which we talked to you guys about. We got Ryan Stanton against Phil Maton last week, we talked to you guys about. And we also added Paul Blackburn, Huáscar Brazoban, who Mets fans know far too well, and interesting another piece, Tyler Zuber from the Rays. And I think all in all, we probably didn't trade any of our top 10 prospects in the system. I think definitely no one in the top 15. Cade Morris is the closest, and he's someone that we both liked, but he's someone who kind of just looks like more of a back-end starter that's still in single A, so I'd rather get a back-end starter in the major leagues, which is exactly what they did. All in all, super happy with the deadline. I think David Stearns did a tremendous job. He's known for winning on the margins. He won hardcore in the margins, and this Mets team is a lot better with fewer holes than they had a week ago.
Yeah, I was looking through where the Mets prospects that they traded ranked in these systems. Now, granted, Pipeline hasn't fully updated. They've added the guys that are traded, but I don't think they've updated or adjusted for what they were going to do for the full, second half update there, including draft picks. But Tyler Stewart went to number 17 in the national system. Wilfredo Lara, who they traded to the Marlins for Huáscar Brazoban, was not ranked. And then they traded Paul Gervais to the Rays. He was not ranked in the Rays system. And what's the last guy that we were talking about? I'm forgetting.
Cade Morris.
Yes, Cade Morris was number 20 in the Oakland A's system. So again, no really big hits whatsoever
Yeah.
to what the Mets have done. And they were able to bring in guys that are going to help this Major League Baseball team win right now, which is the most important thing. And what's also cool is Paul Blackburn, control next year. Huascar Brazoban, control until he's
forever.
Dead. Yeah. And until he no longer wants to pitch. Tyler Zuber, control forever. Like all the guys they brought in are not just fixtures for the team this year. They're going to be here for the next couple years.
I believe Stanek and Mets'd also have options for next year, if I remember correctly.
And then Winker is the only expiring one. But that was, we knew that. And they gave him nothing.
Totally. And for Brazoban and Zuber, they both have options. So it gives a lot of flexibility too for this bullpen going the rest of the year. I just think the bullpen was the thing that needed the most help.
Yes.
And we knew that the Mets weren't going to trade really impact guys to get them. We talked to you guys way too much about Carlos Estevez and the Phillies. Mark and I are a little bit split on George Klassen, but I think that he is one of the more exciting minor league pitching prospects right now, just what he's done this year. Seeing a guy move that much. He's someone who can profile as a middle rotation guy as far as a back end rotation guy. Like he obviously has more going for him than Cade Morris or Tyler Stewart, the best prospect the Mets traded. And I even think the other pitcher the Phillies traded, Spencer Algieri, he also might have as much, if not a little bit more ceiling than either Stewart or Morris as well. And the Phillies traded both of them for a reliever in Carlos Estevez, who I like, who's objectively good, but is an impact. And then for the Padres to get Tanner Scott and Jason Adam, they traded 2 starting pitching prospects in Robbie Snelling and Dylan Lesko, who I think truthfully have like high-end upside. Like these guys could be 2-3s in the future easily. They could also not, but they could. So those were the prices for the best relievers on the market. And the Mets got relievers that aren't that much worse and have a little bit more flexibility for almost nothing at all. So again, it's just very, very happy at how David Stearns managed in a tight space and got players that will help the Major League team without giving up any impact prospects.
Yeah, let's start off with the least sexy of the bunch, which is going to be the reliever side. So Tyler Zuber, that was a name that we were honestly surprised about, especially because we've seen Paul Gervais and we thought that he was an interesting reliever, big, tall dude, low arm slot, nasty stuff, striking out like 30% of the batters he's faced in Double-A. But it seems like the Mets did not value him nearly as much as they do with Tyler Zuber, who upon further review, looks like he has some really, really interesting stuff and a really unique arm slot as well.
Yeah, it's very much the same archetype of relievers that David Stearns has gone after since he's come to the Mets. Weird arm slot, flat release angle on the fastball, with a fastball that rises, a slider that is, I would say, pretty devastating. Stuff Plus gives it a 137, which is one of the highest sweepers in the system, and also a cutter that he throws that's is good weapon for him against lefties. A Stuff Plus gives a 124, and of course, like every other reliever that David Stearns goes after, Tyler Zuber strikes a lot of guys out. And he also has big command issues and walks a lot of guys. So that is just exactly our type. And we've done it again. Ryan Stanek, Tyler Zuber. And that's the thing. He's someone who, I don't know. I don't think he got put in the Major League roster. Not positive on that.
I'll take a look. I'm pretty sure he did not, though.
I don't think so. So that's, again, another guy with options, but I think they like. And just someone who they think they can mold into a slightly better reliever than he was. And Gervais, I think, stinks to give up because I think he could have been a pretty awesome Major League reliever. But if they don't believe he was a good Major League reliever right now, and they think that Zuber is, then I understand why making the trade. But this was the one that I thought was the strangest. And this will be a nice staring contest between the Mets and Rays who can win this trade with their own internal pitching development.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one to say the least. In terms of the other reliever, Huascar Brazoban, this is going to be we might be breaking news to the Mets fans if they haven't really been paying attention to Huascar, or if they didn't see him pitch today in Game 3 against the Minnesota Twins. Huascar Brazoban's 34 years old. Yeah. He was a rookie last year 2 years ago as a 32-year-old. And you might remember when he played against the Mets, he came in, I think he pitched 10 innings to start the year, and he pitched 6 of those 10 innings against the Mets to start the season. So he's a guy that we've actually seen a ton. And I always remember being like, wow, Huascar Brazoban, interesting dude. And I thought he was like 24 when they first called him up, and I looked him up. I said, 32? Where'd this guy come from? He's got a little bit of an interesting backstory.
Very interesting backstory. He came from the Independent League 2 years ago as 32-year-old. And he also, this is a note from the Baseball Prospectus folks, one of the reasons that we might have gotten him so cheaply, because Wilfredo Lara is basically as nothing of a prospect that was given up this deadline, and Huascar Brazoban has 5 full years of team control and seems like an actually good reliever. Brazoban's had visa issues the last 2 years, and it's taken time from the start of the season, each of the last 2 seasons, because he struggled to get into America. And that's because, allegedly, when he was coming here the first time as an international free agent, he may or may not have been lying about his age, which makes sense, because it seems like he broke out a little bit later in life and wanted to make some more money. But that's neither here nor there. We support Huascar Brazoban in any endeavor that he has with the United States government. Hopefully everything's safe and secure there. But he's almost had an amazing year. And again, the Mets gave up absolutely nothing to get him. I know no one really likes that MLB trade values calculator, but I think it was funny that they said that this was the most lopsided trade that happened this deadline.
Did they really?
Yeah, they said the excess value
for
Wilfred. They said Wilfredo Lara is basically a nothing player, and Brazoban as a reliever that's kind of good with 5 years of control. It's huge. And Brazoban's had a big breakout year for a couple of reasons. One, he's been throwing a little bit harder. Two, you're going to love this. He has stopped really throwing his changeup to right-handed batters. He's throwing it like 70% less often, and he is throwing. He's also done the same thing with his sinker against right-handed batters. He's throwing him more lefties, which that's kind of a weird one, but that's just it might just move a lot horizontally, so it might think it works. But very interesting reliever in that he likes to mix all 4 of his pitches against hitters from both sides of the plate. He kind of changes up where he throw those pitches against each side of the plate, but he usually does show people all 4 of them. And something else really cool, first outing with the Mets, he was throwing significantly harder. He got over 99 miles an hour today. He hasn't done that all season, hasn't done that over a full calendar year. So it seems like he's out of, as Mark would call it, the hellhole in Miami, and now he's ready to jump into a playoff race and be a really useful reliever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that you're going to see with the Marlins players. And you mentioned that Eno Saris said this as well, that maybe the guys on the Marlins were just like, I don't really care because I'm in Miami and I play for the Marlins and this place sucks. Because Jazz Chisholm has been amazing for the Yankees. There's literally no other way to say it. Crazy. Who thought Jazz Chisholm was going to be good? Wow, who saw that coming? Crazy.
Not Jonathan Papelbon.
Not Jonathan Papelbon. Definitely not Jonathan Papelbon. Huascar Brazoban throwing harder. Can't wait. Oh, God, I'm so excited we get to talk about this guy for 5 years. I just love the name, too. It's electric. Huascar Brazoban. I'd love to know what his walkout song was. Hopefully someone can maybe tell us if they're at the game today. Yeah. And then, like, Brian De La Cruz getting traded to the Pirates for absolutely nothing. Like, that might end up looking like an absolute steal, too. Another good ball player that we think is better than a lot of people in baseball world, but we also know ball better than most, so.
Yeah, especially a guy like De La Cruz, who, like, the things he was quite bad at were, like, being patient, defense, and base running, which are all kind of, at the end of the day, effort and mental based things, which is like effort and mentals might be a little hard than Miami. So that team, I don't know what the hell's going to happen to that team the rest of the year, but thankfully we got most of our games out of the way against them already. Love the MLB schedule that we don't get to play the Marlins in this beleaguered state. Also love so much that, we're in the midst of the playoff race and the Yankees are playing the Phillies and we get to play the Twins. So great. That makes so much sense. But again, we won the series, whatever. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Then the last guy we got, someone that, if you guys have been listening to Mets stuff for this whole year, we foretold this. Paul Blackburn, I'm coming home. Mark and I predicted this on January 2nd, a podcast that we did probably on December 28th, that Paul Blackburn would be a Met this year. We both vowed to drink 3 entire beers, and those are Citi Field tall boys. We have to stick to that during Paul Blackburn's first quality start at Citi Field if he became a Met. So we're going to find a way to get to his home opener in a few weeks. And if you guys are going to be there with us, please join us in our pledge to drink 3 beers during Paul Blackburn's first home quality start as a Met. But this is a move that I think is the most divisive in the Mets community, met with a good bit of vitriol because people will see like a 4.5 career ERA and a guy who's been worse than he ever has probably over the last 12 months. But something hilarious people have been saying, he's a former first round pick. Something else hilarious people are saying, he's a former all-star. Both of those are true, but they're kind of meaningless. Mark, when was he drafted?
He was drafted 56th overall in 2012, which was somehow still the first round, when now that would almost be out of the second round.
Yeah, so technically a first round pick, technically an all-star because the A's had to have 1 year or 2 years ago when he made it. But he's a classic kitchen sink guy. He has a good slider and a good changeup. He kind of manipulates right-handed and left-handed batters by mixing a four-seam fastball, cutter, and a sinker. He also shows a curveball when he needs to. Another year of cheap team control next year. Again, classic kitchen sink, back of the rotation guy, which if we weren't going to trade top prospects and get Jack Flaherty or Yusei Kikuchi, who wound up going for prospects that would have been much higher in our system, this made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, for the price that we got Paul Blackburn, I'm super happy. I know Jim Bowden, everybody's favorite GM, him and Jim Duquette. It must be the name Jim. There's just
hey, I'm James, not Jim.
You're James. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you were Jim Shiano, you would be freaking out about this deadline. You'd be so angry. You'd be hating. You'd be like, Paul Blackburn, who's this guy? What are we talking about? But Jim Bowden did not particularly love the Mets deadline, which is a great thing for a Mets fan too here, because this is a guy who hasn't worked as a GM in baseball for over a decade. Probably a good reason.
Neither
have we. But we did. David Stearns is listening. We know that. I mean, it's getting to a point now where it's getting a little crazy because the fact that Paul Blackburn, there wasn't a rumor. There was nothing about Paul Blackburn even
came
being
off the IL
moved
last week.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, bang to the Mets. January 2nd, we said it. And we said it in the last episode, too. I think we joked, Paul Blackburn probably. We'll bring him home. Why not? Good fit. And the thing that I like about him is he is a quality start machine. Like, when he's at his best, he's going to give you 5 to 6 innings, 3 runs. He's never going to – you're not going to watch Paul Blackburn and be like, this guy's special, man. Like, he's not going to give you the Sean Manaea 11 strikeout game like that we saw during the series against the Twins. but he might give you 7 innings, 3 hits, maybe a couple walks, couple hits, a couple strikeouts here and there. He's oatmeal, as you like to say.
Totally. And I think that grabbing a pitcher from the Oakland A's is usually good because while their stadium is great to pitch in, our stadium's also great to pitch in. They don't have the best, they don't have the most coaches and the most analytics staff with them. So they might not be game planning the best. And also they have bad defense. They don't have very good defensive players in that team. They don't really care because they're not a winning baseball team. So getting him a better defense like the Mets have, getting him better game day prep like the Mets will give him. I think most people are going to have deja vu because we said all the same shit about Hauser and it wasn't fucking true. But this feels like a better version of Adrian Hauser, which is that's David Stearns to be like, all right, we still need this like late rotation spackle, which we do. We need it.
And he's here next year, and he's going to cost $5 million. He's going to be free. So that's
is it 5? I think it's a little more. So I mean, 12.
He was 3-4 this year. I can't imagine he jumps to 12.
Oh yeah, he's still arbitration. I thought he had a contract.
No, he's still arbitration. So I would imagine he jumps to 5, maybe 6, 7 at the most. And he's still free.
He was 1.1 this year. So next year, probably 5 is the ceiling.
He's 3.4, it says this year.
Oh, 1.1 the Mets are paying for the rest of the year. You're right.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, 7, maybe fewer than $10 million.
Yes, which you can't really get starting pitching for. So love to see that.
It's a win. Yeah. So again, I think overall, very good deadline. David Stearns did what David Stearns does, and he won on the margins. Like, that's his game. He likes to dig himself into a crevice and find any value he can while in his mind probably giving literally nothing up. Like, I don't think David Stearns thinks one of these players he gave up will ever be an impact performer at the major league level.
He might say, we just drafted them. We just drafted them again this year. What do I need these guys for? They're not moving fast enough. We got new guys.
Like, Stewart's the closest, but I think we talked about him last episode. He doesn't really have a weapon against lefties, so who knows how good of a major league starter he'll be. And Morris is still in single A, so like just trade single A pitchers. Like, why not, right?
Yeah, why not? Trade single A pitchers for major leaguers. I'll take that chance every single day, especially when they're not the greatest single A pitchers of all time.
Yes, exactly. Which George Klassen might be. But I digress. Good trade deadline for the Mets. Very happy with it. This team is better than it was a week ago.
100%. And we saw the Mets kind of feel good a little bit too coming out of the deadline. End up winning the series against the Minnesota Twins. Nice win on the deadline day. Clean little 2-0 victory in game 2. Smoked them in game 1. Not even close. Just beat the pants off them, which was phenomenal. Game 3 was a little disappointing, but hey, listen, you lose games. Severino's allowed to be off every once in a while, and it seems like that today he just simply was off, not as sharp. But I do love that the Mets were able to take care of the Twins, a team that we talked about coming into the series. It's a playoff team. This is a really solid team, one of the more well-rounded teams in Major League Baseball. And for most of the series, they really were just in control.
Yeah, I also think, because you said the Mets came out of this deadline seemingly feeling good, I think the Twins came out of this deadline seemingly feeling bad.
Yes.
Because they're a team that's super in the mix, and the only player they got was Trevor Richards.
Yes.
Who's nothing special at all. As far away from special as you could possibly get.
His main pitch is changeup, so that's I tell you a lot.
Yeah, so being a team that's making huge strides and chasing down a team that's been a division leader all year in the Cleveland Guardians, having probably your best all-around roster you've had like in this new regime in the Rocco Baldelli days of the Twins, having a real playoff rotation, probably the first time ever, because you have Pablo Lopez pitching well, Joe Ryan pitching well, and I'm missing Bailey Ober pitching really well. Like 1, 2, 3, bang. Like that's a playoff 3 that you can say we can go into a series with, which I don't think the Twins have ever thought that way in a playoff series. They're pitching. Maybe since Johan, and that did not go well either. But you can kind of feel them on, definitely not on Wednesday because they fucked our shit, but feeling a tiny bit flat. Maybe they knew, but just that's kind of like the sliding door of the trade deadline for teams. But good series overall. Like the Monday Massacre was phenomenal.
So
it happened the same night that we couldn't hit in softball, which I think is telling about the way our lives and the Mets are kind of congruent to one another. But a lot of fun to just beat the shit out of a really good baseball team.
Yeah, and especially we can now end the Simeons, Woods, Richardson conversation if Mets fans ever wanted to have that about like, oh, I can't believe we gave this guy up. There were. Matt from Staten Island was talking about, I can't believe we gave this guy up. Look, he's got 3.1 ERA. We could have used him right now. For Stroman, this guy's a Yankee now. Like, that was a conversation that someone was having. And we absolutely destroyed him second time through the line. We were watching the game at Emblem in Brooklyn. Yeah. And I told you, I'm like, man, he looks like not impressive at all. I was like, they're going to get to him second time through. And that's exactly what happened. Alonso got a home run, Vientos double. McNeil was hitting the ball well. I mean, everybody was hitting the ball well in this game.
All 11 players that came to the plate for the Mets got a hit.
Nice. Even Ben Gamble, look at that.
Crazy. Ben Gamble and Tyrone Taylor came off the bench and got hit. Tyrone Taylor came off the bench and robbed a home run,
yes.
Which was so mean when the Mets were up 10 runs in like the 7th or 8th inning. But Also, from this game, I really want to talk about Quintana because Quintana has made a full 180 in the last month and a half, 6 weeks. And it's to the point where I can say this every episode, I've been so critical of Quintana. I'm really happy about it because there was a material change, guys. Jose Quintana's curveball has completely changed himself as a pitcher. He threw the pitch 50% of the time on Monday. His high water mark for throwing the curveball any start this year was 33%. And he threw it over and over and over and over again. It got 8 whiffs on 23 swings. It allowed one really hard hit ball, but that was it. And he cruised to a fantastic, phenomenal start in a season when it looked like he was completely lost. His ERA is down to 3.89, which after the Wednesday blow up is lower than Luis Severino's, second lowest on the Mets staff. Yes, he's been a miraculous steadying force. And this Quintana pitching, and I'll throw him out there to play. I'll throw him out there game 3 of the wild card series. I think he's just funky enough to make it happen right now.
We kind of don't really have a choice, but yeah, I'll throw him out there if he's pitching like this. And he was throwing the curveball out to the righties too, because they had a mostly righty lineup, I believe, on Monday night. And they were diving at this thing. They were going fishing. They were just casting out, trying to make any sort of contact with it, making Carlos Santana and Royce Lewis and guys like that look foolish, which those are very professional hitters. And then got to shout out Jose Butto again. Continues to just be such a fucking dog. I mean, how do you not love this guy? 3 innings, 2 strikeouts, gets the save, second save of his career. ERA is down to 2.47 on the year. He just does whatever the Mets ask of him, and he does it well.
Yeah, and the Mets, because it was a weird moment in this game because the Mets were up double-digit runs and Butto stayed in to finish the game. People were like, this might be our second best reliever. Why is he still in the game? And then the Mets kind of hinted after the game and have since announced that he is going to be moving back into the rotation for Tyler McGill this weekend.
Oh, they announced it's officially he's in the rotation?
Yeah, because McGill pitched in relief today.
Oh, I thought.
Because they said Paul Blackburn will slot in. Mendoza basically said, we're keeping Butto stretched out because we think that that's where we want him, but we're going to see if we're going to actually do that with the 6-man rotation. But they don't have an off day next week either. So they might just do that to keep everyone stretched. Also, I was checking back. This was the highest percentage of curveballs Quintana has thrown in a game that he didn't leave with an injury early since 2015.
Whoa.
And that was September 30th, 2015, where he threw 1% more.
Why does he not do this more often? It seems like this might be a recipe for success for him because that fastball is so mid. So
slider, I mean, the changeup, the fastball, the sinker, everything's very mid. His curveball is excellent. And again, the thing that changed the most for him with this is he's comfortable with throwing that pitch earlier and earlier in counts. He was mixing it 0-0. He was doing a 1-0. He was doing it 0-1. Like, he was comfortable throwing it everywhere. He was throwing it in the zone. He was getting it whiffs on it. Like, everything about that pitch was awesome.
Yes.
It was really good. He only threw in the zone 30% of the time. He still got 6 called strikes with it. It's just he's manipulating that pitch in such a way right now where it's materially changed him as a pitcher. And I think that's something we can really hang our hats on. Yeah, another guy,
clean one,
who is just completely fucking awesome, Sean Manaea.
Incredible.
God. Oh my God. What this guy has become recently is it's marvelous.
6-inning Sean. I mean, ever since you took a shot at him for not being able to get to the 6th inning, he's almost only gone past the 6th inning.
I'm loading up his game log right now. I want to see how many of his last whatever starts he's gotten into the 6th inning, because up until he did 6 innings in his first start of the season, then he didn't do 6 innings again until May. Then he did 6 innings twice in a row, and then he didn't do 6 innings again until early July. And in July, every start but 2, he's gotten at least 6 full innings.
There it is.
And I believe this was the most swings and misses he's ever had in a start. I'm double checking it right now.
23?
At least, yeah, led the day in swings and misses. Tweet that from Mets'd up 1 a.m, and you guys love that tweet. Everyone woke up with it. 7 more swings and misses than he's had in a start in any singular start this year.
Wow.
And it was awesome. A lot of it came from him just jamming that 2-seamer up to everybody. And he's got that pitch cutting right now so damn well, working the sweeper off it. He looks the best that he's literally ever looked in his entire career. And again, a lot of credit to the Mets for this one. This is Jeremy Hefner, big pat on the back, because those 3 pitches combined, 5 swings and misses in the 2-seamer with 6 called strikes, 8 on the sweeper in a lineup that didn't have a ton of lefties in it. It was a pitch that was going down and into the righties, and then 8 more swings and misses on the 4-seamer. It's just all around, had everything going. It was a really, really, really such a good start from Sean Manaea.
I don't think they actually even had one lefty in the entire lineup against Sean Manaea.
I think you're right, because Kepler pinch hit late. I think every guy here was a righty. A couple switch hitters. So
no all righties. He dominated. Diced them up. 7 innings, 11 Ks, 1 walk, 2 hits. That's just phenomenal. Just a clap for Sean Manaea.
And 1 hard hit ball, just 1, and it was only 97. It was barely a hard hit ball. I think I want to say that was Carlos Santana ground ball. No, it wasn't. Was it Miranda? Line drive? No, who was it? I don't remember. Oh, Willie Castro. It was Willie Castro.
Oh, he did smoke that ball. Yeah, I remember
he did smoke that one. And then there was a moment in this game where the Mets were up little bit late, and
scary.
And Stanek was on the mound. Every Mets fan was collectively holding their breath for Ryan Stanek to have a good start, because if he had 2 blow-up stars Mets career, all hell would have broken loose on the internet, and like just we would have killed him. He would have been booed vivaciously in his next appearance. Gets a ground ball to Pete Alonso, I think with 1 out at the start of the inning, and Pete made one of the worst errors I've ever seen in my life.
One of the worst throws ever. He
airmailed the ball straight over Ryan Stanek's head. Ryan Stanek jumped in the air, landed on the base, thought he rolled his ankle for a second. We would just lost our new trade option. Pete was killing himself the whole inning after. Stanek looked like he wanted to strangle him. Everyone's like, hey, just let him be. He's going to hit a home run. Don't sweat it. But worked around that. Edwin got a huge strikeout of Byron Buxton. Yep. I think his best slider he's thrown all year. And we walked out of the start feeling very good about this Mets team, having put the series in our pockets.
Yeah, 2-0 clean victory. What it feels like the Mets have been getting a ton of shutouts lately. By the way, up until remember, like
I think 4 since like the week before the All-Star break.
Yeah, it was like they were the last team to basically get a shutout, I think, on the season, and then since then it feels like they've got to have the most shutouts in baseball in terms of pitching. Like the pitching's been really all over the place, but when it's been good, it has been pretty nasty.
Yeah, very. This was our second shutout since the All-Star breaks. We had that 1-0 win against the Marlins as well. But I think it's only 3 on the year, I want to say. 7-0 against the Nationals. Yeah, there's 3 on the year. So we have 3 shutouts in our last, I think that's 11 games played.
Which is really good. It's great.
Yeah.
Love to hear that from the pitching side.
Yeah. And also quick shout out to David Festa, Jersey guy, had a lot of friends and family at this game. Pitched well. Pitched probably well enough to win. Totally good. 68 pitches in 5 innings. Just had given up the home run to Vientos. And he's pitched really good. Shout out Festa having the family there.
Yeah, and then a quick ender of the series. Luis Severino got shelled. Mark Vientos, shout out to Vientos, 2 home runs in the series as well. Just
awesome. So good.
Such a good ball player. 16 home runs on the year. Mark Vientos has a 904 OPS.
I think that's the most for any third baseman in baseball since he was called up.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure since he's called up, I think he might have the most F4 in the National League at third base, which is also pretty impressive. That's disgusting.
Amazing. Yeah. Quick mention, though, about Severino, that his velocity was pretty down on Wednesday across the board. So would love to hear something encouraging about that. But he was sitting 94 with that fastball, which is a huge difference for him. And the changeup, the slider, the sweeper, everything lost velocity. The Twins weren't missing it at all. Hopefully he just slept down funny. But Huascar Brazoban got that velocity because it was the hardest pitch of the year by 0.5 mile an hour. So I think it's just one of those games. Hard to sweep a really good team like the Twins. Super happy the Mets won this series. I'll be honest, I don't really remember the last series they lost. I'm going to look it up right now because it seems like it's been kind of a while. I think the last series they lost was last series the Mets lost was the Astros series.
Ooh, that's a while.
That was in June.
Yeesh. Good for the Mets.
We just went the entire month of July without losing series.
Hell yeah, let's go Mets, baby. All right, love to hear that. And also, shout out Francisco Alvarez. Did something interesting in this game. It doesn't matter. Got lost in the sauce. But Max Kepler struck out on a pitch, and I've always complained about this, that catchers don't know the rules about players, like when they throw down to third or when they do this, or if you throw into a batter and he's out of the batter's box at all, the batter or the runner is automatically out. Doesn't matter what it was. And Alvarez went to back pick, I believe, Austin Martin on second base. Would have never had him, had no shot in the world. But Kepler fell over onto home plate after he struck out on the pitch. Alvarez hit him in the back of the helmet. Austin Martin called out double play. Strike him out, throw him out. And that's just like one of those rules that a lot of people don't know in baseball. And I know just from catching, because I love doing all that like cheap little like bullshit to get away and sneak anything that you could. So I was happy to see Francisco Alvarez did. I was like, yes, someone in Major League Baseball has done this, because so many hitters, especially even when they steal third, a lot of hitters step out. If the guy steps out, throw it into his back, automatically out at third base. There's nothing they can do. That's the rules.
I love also Alvarez, who has been struggling with the bat, have missed a couple games this year with Mendoza, said a shoulder issue. I don't think he used the word injury on purpose, but nice to see him doing anything he can to help the team, as he always does, because he's just a fantastic baseball player and a true born leader.
And shout out Jeff McNeil. Great series from Jeff McNeil. Lots of hits.
Looks just very back and helps. Yes. It's beautiful thing, because we told you guys this is going to happen in baseball season. Lindor's been a little colder now in the last 2 series. Nimmo's been ice cold for about 3 weeks now. JD Martinez has been very cold for about 3 weeks, a month now.
Pete Alonso.
Alonso. No, but Alonso had another good series. Pete, Jeff Vientos coming up the series, getting the big hits to help us win. And Tyrone Taylor.
And Luis Torrens.
And Luis Torrens did everything he could ever do to keep us in the check here.
All right, so now we are going to go to the Ryan Lambert interview. Yes. And hopefully you guys enjoy that. So here it is. All right, what is up, Mets fans? We've got an exclusive interview here on the Mets'd podcast. Mets 8th round pick, right-handed pitcher out of the University of Oklahoma, Ryan Lambert. Ryan, Thank you so much for joining us, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing well, man. How's it? Looks like you're down in Florida. Is that where the Mets got you right now?
That's where they got us. Yep, right in
S-
Florida, St. Lucie, actually.
Beautiful. So yeah, St. Lucie's is a heck of a town. Mark and I spent some time there too. Great with the Mets stuff. But for Mets fans out there that might not know, Ryan was our 8th round pick this year out of the University of Oklahoma. And Ryan's best calling card is that he can throw the baseball really, really, really hard. So Ryan, first question, very basic. What does it feel like to throw a baseball 102 miles an hour?
Honestly, it feels like water. I guess if I had
Okay.
to explain it, I'd say it like that. Like everything is so fluid. Like there's no tension in the throw. Because if you're throwing it that hard, like your body's got to be moving the most efficient as possible. So like it just feels freaking incredible, to be honest.
Yeah, I got to imagine throwing 102's got to feel pretty good. And this is something that I don't want to say is relatively new to you, but your like journey through baseball and now getting drafted by the New York Mets, it was a little bit different than most. You started off, I mean, you went to 3 different colleges, Northern Iowa Area Community College, Missouri State, and the University of Oklahoma. And we even saw on your Twitter that you were a big, like you used the Flat Ground app. You were using Twitter as a way to get more looks. And I think at one
hmm
point you were at 92 and you got to 102. How did you make that jump? Because obviously that seems to be quite a difference.
Yeah, no, it was a big jump for sure, and it really happened kind of gradually over the years. But I'd say I really got the feel for throwing hard at my junior college. I had a really good pitching coach, and he was big on like the early drive line stuff. Like we did a bunch of non-traditional types of training, and like we were doing good plyo drills. The janitor throw, I will say the janitor throw is the main drill that got me to throw hard. If I were to recommend a drill to someone to throw harder, it'd be the janitor throw.
Well, what is the janitor
And
throw?
it's where you're on the mound and you coil your front leg kind of back towards your back leg. So you're literally like coiling up like that, and then you kind of just drift towards the mound and just freaking explode out of that position and throw it. It's a cool drill.
Wow, I've never even heard of that. That's amazing. Is that what else did you do? You think that got you over that hump? Because gaining 7, 8, 9 miles an hour over a 2 year stretch is unreal. Like what else happened on your path there to give you that velocity?
Yeah. Another thing that helped me a lot was always trying to throw hard. Like I would say I probably sacrificed some of my location to throw hard, but now that I'm piecing it all together, I think it was all worth it. But it was just constantly telling yourself like you got to throw this as hard as you can. And like growing up, my dad he was a big baseball guy, and he kind of helped me with pitching and stuff, and he always told me throw the ball as hard as you freaking can. So like that's definitely the biggest piece I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be working for you. Like we said, like you went to 3 different colleges, you've now been drafted. Did you think when the journey started that this was going to end up being where you go, like you're going to be drafted, or were you like, I hope one day we are? Did you always know?
I always knew. I feel like I just always had that confidence that this would be like the outcome that would come from my baseball career. So I always knew.
With always knowing, did you ever have any affinity for the Mets? Have you ever been to New York at all?
I have not, no, and I'm not necessarily a. I wasn't a big Mets fan before this, but I am now, and
Good answer.
I think New York is going to be cool when I go. But I've yet to go to New York.
That's fair. That's fair. You did get to pitch in the MLB Draft League, which is something that they've added into the prospect building recently. And you broke the record for the fastest fastball thrown at 100.7 miles an hour. And you actually then broke your own record, which is pretty crazy. Do you think that MLB Draft League helped get you noticed a little bit more than you were in previously throughout college?
Yeah, I'd say it definitely helped a lot. I mean, we had a lot of good players on that team, and a lot of scouts would come watch. So if our shortstop, we had a good shortstop, Dalton Wentz. He was a high prospect. He was a high schooler. So if he's playing, like scouts are there. It's just good exposure for other players, and you just get that spotlight with all the scouts, and you just go do your thing. So yeah, it definitely helped.
How was the jump for you to go from your junior college, like you said before, to closing games for Oklahoma in the Big 12, like on a path towards the College Baseball World Series?
Yeah, it's definitely a huge jump. And it was more of a mental jump, honestly. Like being mentally tough in those situations is really like the strength I feel like pitchers need to have. Something they preach at OU that helped me a lot was just being fearless. Like having that fearless mindset. Like I don't care who's in the box, I don't care what name's on that jersey. Like you just got to go and do your thing. Like that was the mental jump was the biggest, and that definitely took some time to develop.
What about in terms of prep? We know that pitchers are very, very. They have their routines. They stick to them. Some guys don't throw a lot. Some guys like to throw a lot. What's your routine before you come in to close a game?
My routine, I do one set of bands, hop on the mound, I'm freaking ready. I keep it short and sweet. I'm simple with it, you know.
Are you out there
You
trying
got
to?
I mean,
What? You go.
I was gonna say, I mean, you gotta be like kind of fast. Like,
Yeah.
you know, your guy gets into some trouble. I mean, you don't have time to do a full like band routine, plow balls, stretching. Like, you got to be ready to go. Basically, that's how I view it.
I feel like a lot of closers work on like this range between being like super jacked up and super zen. Where do you think you fall in that range before you come into a game?
Oh, I'm more on the Zen side for sure.
Nice.
I'm big on that Zen. Yeah.
What was your walkout song?
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
For OU, it was From Florida with Love by Drake.
Okay.
That was the walkout
Nice.
song.
That's
And
pretty
it's kind
zen.
of like a chill. It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
The reason we got you on here is I know your agent, Michael, and he told me specifically I got to ask you about how many eggs does it take someone to drink in order to throw 100 miles an hour? I hear there's a story behind this.
Yeah. Pretty crazy, but I'd say it's 30 eggs a day for a month straight. You do that, you're throwing 100. I'm serious.
30 eggs in plyo, that's 100.
30 eggs in janitor
And
grill.
janitors.
Yes,
How would you make the eggs?
that is the key. Oh, I didn't make them. I cracked them. I'd put like 10 in a cup at a time. 10 for breakfast. Yeah, I'd drink that. Come back after my workout. 10 more. Drink that. And then 10 before bed.
Oh my God. You're just ripping 30 raw eggs a day? I thought they were going to be cooked eggs.
Dude, you're like Rocky.
That'd be too much.
That would be too much.
Kinda.
Oh my
Well,
God.
I mean, you got to eat them, and drinking them is just way quicker.
Dude, when you
No, but I was buying these 60 packs at Walmart for $5. They were $5 at the time. 60 pack of eggs, dude. I'd be going there like every 2 days. It was nuts.
Mark, when you used to be roommates, remember I used to get that 60 pack of eggs, but I used to drift it in scrambles and over easy for 2 months at a time, not fucking rip them that week.
But, Ryan's ripping them in 2 days. Yeah. He's going back.
Yeah.
They're like, this guy's buying a lot of eggs. I got questions.
Ryan, when you get to Citi Field, when you get called up for the first time, me, you, and Mark, we're all going to put 6 raw eggs in a glass, and we're all going to drink them, all right? That's the deal we're making with you.
I love it, dude.
Yes.
You better hold up to that deal, dude.
Oh, we'll hold up to it.
It's not even a question.
That would be badass.
I'll prepare my stomach that week, but yeah, I'm in.
Hell yeah, dude. I love it.
we talk a lot about fastballs. Tell us about your breaking balls, what you have working with your repertoire, and how you might have developed them.
Yeah. So I got a traditional slider, and then I also have a cutter. And the cutter didn't come until I got to OU, and Skip and another player taught it to me. And this was like a week out before the season. And they showed me this grip. I naturally cut my fastball too. So like they're thinking this cutter's gonna be perfect for me. They show me this grip. I throw it and catch. It's money. And next thing you know, I'm in the bottom ninth playing Tennessee. 2 guys on, 1 out. And I throw all freaking cutters, dude.
Nice.
I threw like 36 pitches. Like 35 of them were cutters. I mean that pitch was it was very helpful. But like I'd say the slider, I developed that at junior college. We did like pitching design and stuff, but like right now it's mainly just that fastball and cutter. That 1-2 punch is working pretty well for me.
The Mets pitching lab has gotten a lot of hype around baseball. As a guy who's now going to be a part of it, is this something that you knew coming in? You're like, oh wow, Mets drafted me. I've heard about this pitching lab. Can't wait to see what it's all about.
I'd never even heard of the pitching lab before, but literally 2 days ago, we got a tour. We got a big tour of it. and it is insane, dude. It's like out of this world. There's like they said like 60 cameras, like
Nice.
high tech cameras all around the mound. There's force plates in it. Um, it's like next level stuff. You can go back 5 years and see like the skeleton of like Max Scherzer or something. You can see that of him pitching and his mechanics and like the amount of force he's putting into like his pitches, and it's a really incredible tool that they use, and I'm excited to be part of it. So
Have you
yeah.
have you connected with any of the Mets and pitching coaches yet? Eric Yeagers, Jeremy Hefner, anyone of the sort?
Yeah, Jaegers. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's an awesome dude. Him and I, we actually talked to yesterday, and we're working on a splinker right now for me.
Whoa.
He's helping me out with a splinker, dude. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I mean, that's like the hot word right now in baseball.
My heart
Here's
just skipped a
Splinker.
beat.
Oh,
That's incredible. Wow. Now
yeah.
we love everything they're doing. It's just we've seen so many of these other pitchers come through fast these last few years and just look so good, changing all their pitches in the process. So I'm excited for you. They're going to be able to experience all this crazy technology and all this amazing coaching with the team.
Yeah, I'm excited as well.
Is there any plan to stretch you out a little bit, or is the plan to keep you in that relief role right now?
I think as of right now, we're looking at staying in that relief role, but you never know. I mean, if I get that splinker and cutter, slider, fastball, like that'd be a pretty good starting arsenal. I'd say, I don't know, maybe there's a shot I start in the future, but right now I'd say just closer.
When was the last time that you started consistently?
Um, that was like I started games in high school. Sophomore year, I was on the varsity team, and I kind of played a reliever role because I was younger. But I started like one or two games. I always started when I was younger though. Like growing up as a kid, I was always the starter.
Yeah.
Like I was the ace basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. I mean,
You
I
got
got drafted, so I had a pretty good feeling that you were decent as a kid for sure.
Yeah.
I was looking through your Instagram, and I saw you had an Instagram post quoting American Psycho. So,
hmm
pretty big American Psycho fan.
I am a huge American Psycho fan.
Okay,
Yes.
we've got a couple questions for you about American Psycho, and see
All
if you
right.
can answer them. First one being, what would Patrick Bateman's favorite baseball team be?
Oh, the New York Mets, of course.
Nice, like that, on fire.
Mhm.
This is hilarious because
Easy.
this is like a big part of New York lore, and this is like one of your favorite movies. And you say you've never been there. That's fucking funny. It's funny as hell.
I know it's shocking, but I don't know.
Mark, you got more questions?
James, you had the one about the business card, right?
Oh no, so neither Mark and I had ever seen it, and we were like, oh, we have to ask him some questions. We were like, okay, we can't find anything. So I texted one of my friends who's a big movie guy. I know he loves American Psycho. He was like, ask him what color the business cards were. I was like, what color were they? He's like, oh, I don't remember. Do you remember?
I know. Yeah. Bone. There's bone. That's the color.
Okay.
What's the color?
Bone.
Oh,
Bone.
foreshadowing.
A little bit, yeah.
All right, I've got another one. Where does Patrick Bateman live?
Can't remember the name of it. I don't know. What is it?
That's a good question. Hold on, let me pull it back up.
It's really good trivia from two guys who've never seen the movie.
You know, we're really it was American Garden Building, West 81st, 11th floor.
Yeah. That,
Yeah.
Yep.
What drew you to American Psycho? Why is that your favorite movie?
I don't know. Honestly, it's like such a different film. I mean, you guys need to watch it first
I
off.
think we
we
will.
will,
Yeah.
It's kind of different, I'll say that. But I just think the role Christian Bale plays in that movie it's both funny and it's like there's got some thriller to it. I don't know. It's just an interesting movie. A very, very interesting movie.
I think keep it off the field as well. When you're not watching American Psycho or drinking 30 eggs a day, what are you doing? What do you do to relax when you're not throwing 102 miles an hour on the mound?
Yeah. I love to go on nature walks. I'm a
Nice.
big nature guy. Yeah. I got introduced to the grounding. Yeah, I don't know if you guys are familiar with grounding,
Oh yeah,
like walking around in grass and stuff like that.
barefoot.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I like to do that. I like to go to the gym, I'll do some yoga sometimes. That's like peaceful for me. Like I like doing stuff like that.
It's
That's
amazing.
about it though. I'm pretty simple.
The guy that throws 102 miles an hour is as zen as you are. I'm shocked right now. This is actually really cool. Especially growing up in Minnesota. I'm sure you had a lot of opportunities to spend time in nature, especially in summers whenever you weren't playing baseball.
Yeah, no, summers there are nice. They're definitely not like summers over here in Florida. It's freaking humid as hell. It's crazy.
Yeah, you're close to the swamp right there. It's definitely a little bit hotter in Florida than what you're used to in Minnesota. I think
Yeah.
a few more questions here before we let you go. We don't want to keep you for too long. Oklahoma guy, Mets just drafted Carson Bench, first round from Oklahoma State. Did you ever get to face him?
I don't think I did. I did face can't remember who it was, but I did pitch against Oklahoma State in the conference championship in the 9th inning, but I don't think I faced him. I wish I did though.
Do you hold these rivalries, even being a Sooner just for 1 year?
I'd be lying if I said I did, but
Just so zen.
Not really. Yeah, I'm just zen, dude. I just go do my thing. You know what I mean?
Just goes out there, drinks 30 eggs, throw 102 miles an hour, throw a low cutter in there, and dominate. Ryan,
all today,
dude, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. Tell all the Mets fans that are listening to this, where can they support you? Where can they follow you? All that stuff. Go ahead and give yourself a little plug.
Yeah, my Instagram is _ Ryan Lambert. And then, yeah, that's my main social.
Awesome. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. We can't wait to see how you pitch throughout your Mets career. And hopefully one day we get to drink those 6 eggs with you at Citi Field, making your debut.
Oh, you will.
Man, we're so in.
That's what I can't wait. To hear. Awesome. Thank you so much, man. And
Thanks,
good luck
Ryan.
this season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, Lambert was great. Love Ryan Lambert. I mean, it seems like he's a dude, and I take him for it that when he makes his debut at Citi Field, we're going to be drinking eggs with him.
No, totally. I've actually been thinking about the logistics of sneaking eggs into Citi Field recently because I'm so completely confident after talking to him that he's going to be a major leaguer. The fact that he said he's going to be throwing a splinter and he sits 100.
Yeah.
I just seeing his mentality, seeing how fucking zen he is, which killed me. That made me laugh so damn hard.
He might have been the reason why they trade Paul Gervais. They're like, got this guy's throwing 100.
It's ready to go. Yeah. But yeah, I hope you guys liked the interview. I hope we could do more things like that. But Lambert seems like he's going to be a friend of the pod. He was super excited. We were super excited. It's just all around amazing to talk to a guy like that. He was hilarious.
Yes, and shout out his agent, Michael Zimmerman, for helping us get that together. So shout out Michael, shout out Ryan Lambert. Can't wait to see how he does on his journey to getting to the major leagues.
We do have to drink eggs.
Yes, can't wait to drink eggs. We have a series preview coming up against the Los Angeles Angels, a team that we see once a year. Mm-hmm. And this team is bad. There's no way around it. The only thing that's cool about the Angels is that Ron Washington is elite vibes. But also maybe one of the worst managers in baseball.
Yeah, the Angels actually swept the Mariners a week ago and then proceeded to lose 3 in a row to the Athletics. So that's a lot about the Angels. The Angels also, it's a shame. The Angels also before that took 3 or 4 from the Mariners. So the Angels just went 6-1 against the Mariners.
What?
The shame about the Angels is that when I looked at this series on the schedule like a few months ago, I was like, all right, cool. The Angels are certainly going to sell at the trade deadline and we're going to get basically a minor league team against them. Much to my chagrin, the Angels did not really sell the deadline at all. The only thing they sold were 2 relief pitchers, and both of those guys weren't even their best reliever because that's Ben Joyce. And they kept Taylor Ward, they kept Brandon Drury, they kept Luis Rengifo, they kept everyone they could possibly keep. And they're the same team as they were going at Tyler Anderson, same teams that were going into the trade deadline. So fuck me, I guess, but we're going to get this Angels team at nearly full strength. Not that that's good or scary, but this is more of a baseball team than if they would have traded even one of those guys I just mentioned.
Who's pitching for them against us? Do we even have a clue?
Oh, yeah. Well, Friday, ace off. Everyone ready for the much anticipated Paul Blackburn debut versus my favorite lefty Tyler Anderson, who's for sure going to shut us out. And then Saturday, another game. Game times this series, Friday and Saturday, 9:38 p.m.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So that's going to be David Peterson versus Jose Soriano. Soriano is pretty fun, has some stuff. We'll talk about him in a little bit. And Sunday matinee 4:07, another ace-off, Jose Quintana versus Griffin Canning.
Yeah, these are pitchers that the Angels have, for sure.
Yeah, Soriano is fun. Don't tell me Soriano's not fun.
I'm not going to tell you he's not fun. I just, it's the Angels. They have some of the worst player development ever, which is crazy because they developed maybe the greatest player ever, 2 greatest players ever, and Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. But everybody else they've done nothing with.
No, so Soriano, there's some good player development happening here. He's not been as good over the last 3-4 weeks that he was over the first 2 months of the season, but he throws a 98-mile-an-hour sinker that moves a lot, and he has a really good knuckle curve on top of that. Mixes a four-seam that also is around 98, and a splitter and a slider. He'll show them. Slider he's no command on, but the splitter I think is something that's coming on for him. I'll say this might sound crazy. As a righty, he's not that far off what Christopher Sanchez is. I'll say that truthfully. If he was with a smarter team, I think he could basically be similar to Christopher Sanchez. The stuff is that good. And I think he's a reliever convert, so still learning how to pitch. But I'm a sucker for that 60% ground ball rate. Don't know why he only has 20% strikeout rate. I think it's just, again, that might be partly Angels being stupid and being like, should pitch to contact.
Yeah.
But he's a very fun pitcher. You guys will see his stuff and be like, damn, we also might hit him, so that's cool. Griffin Canning, I don't know why it's never worked. Might also just have to do with the Angels. The curveball is still awesome, but whatever. So just go into the series. Road series, hard to sweep. Go win some baseball games.
Yeah, go win some baseball games. We're going to see old pal Luis Guillorme kicking it around with the Angels. Ron Washington famously threw him under the bus this year when he called for a suicide squeeze, and then Guillorme didn't get a pitch down that was 35 feet above his head. That's always fun. This is also the almost like Foster's home for imaginary friends, like Foster's home for former top prospects. Mickey Moniak plays there, Joe Adell, Willie Calhoun. At one point, they had Castanero was playing there every day for a bit.
I'll say, you'll hate this. Joe Adell's turning that corner. I think Joe Adell's becoming a good ball player. Have
you looked at his numbers?
Fuck the numbers. I'm telling you.
No, you can't say that. Say he's turning into a good player.
His swing decisions are a lot better. It hasn't come out in his batting average yet. I know you're a big batting average guy.
He has a 35% K rate.
And he always will. But if that K rate gets down, he still hits the ball stupidly hard.
He does hit hard.
He had another home run yesterday. I think the OPS is still really low, but
he's American Frenchie Cordero.
I think he'll be better than Frenchie Cordero. I will. He's better than Frenchie Cordero.
He's bad, which means he's gonna hit a big home run for sure. But he's definitely not very good. Willie Calhoun.
I think he still has a chance to be quite a good baseball player. I really do.
That's a crazy take. I think he has a chance to be a major league baseball player. That kind of seems where it's at.
Okay, does he fall somewhere in between? We're both right.
Yeah, they were both right. Nolan Shanuel, their first round pick from last year, actually hitting some home runs, which is kind of surprising. But he's
pretty good.
He's kind of boring, but he's decent. He's a major league baseball player. Logan O'Hoppe's probably their best player, right? I would say on the offensive side.
I think Neto's good. I'm a Zach Neto believer as well.
I mean, I liked Neto coming out of the draft, but ever since I've seen Trevor May talk about how if you just change up your timing just a little bit, he has no idea what to do. It breaks him. I was like, why isn't everybody doing this?
And it's gonna be funny for Paul Blackburn to face them because he's definitely faced them this year or last.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So
for
definitely
sure.
have those traits.
Also, old friend Kevin Pillar, 135 OPS plus on the year. He's crushing it.
That's another one. And Taylor Ward's also he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's been slow recently, but he's pretty good. And you guys get to see Ben Joyce, who throws 102 miles an hour.
Throws 105. He threw a pitch 105 the other day, which is
he has the fastest pitch in the history of Division I college baseball.
It's not even fathomable to throw a pitch 105 miles an hour. I don't know what that even I've seen 95. I can't even imagine 10 miles an hour faster than that. That doesn't even make sense.
Do you think he would say it feels like water, like Ryan Lambert said?
No shot. I think Ben Joyce and Ryan Lambert, while they're both guys who throw 100 miles an hour, I think the mindset might be very different on those two.
Yeah, I can see that. But again, this team is more stupid than good by a lot. These are
they have Matt Moore. Surely he's pitching well, right?
No, of course, Matt Moore. We needed Matt Moore in the offseason. Remember Hunter Strickland, too? Tried to fight Bryce Harper?
I do remember Hunter Strickland. Oh, Carson Fulmer's on this team. Rowanzi Contreras. Oh, my God.
That's what I'm saying. They are the right now the senior citizen home for former top prospects.
Whew. This is a team. Amir Garrett was on this team. Wow. Jeez.
This team plays baseball.
Last thing I'll say about them, my favorite story is they played Cole Tucker for 24 games this year, and Cole Tucker on record said, I thought I was going to be quitting baseball and coaching in the minors for the Mariners, but the Angels reached out to me, and I said, yeah, sure, why not? Let's run it back. And then he made it to the major league level. That's crazy.
Shout out Cole Tucker. I couldn't even believe what would happen in my life. I got dumped by Vanessa Hudgens.
Did he get dumped by Vanessa Hudgens?
Maybe that's fake news. I thought he got dumped by Vanessa Hudgens.
No. That's true love if I've ever seen it. Vanessa Hudgens' wife. No, still Cole Tucker.
All right, stop. All right, take it back. Cole Tucker is.
They welcomed their first child together 3 weeks ago. Where'd you get this info?
I must have made it up. I must have tried to be really hopeful.
Maybe that was a intrusive thought. You had a dream that she left him, and now she was available. That's what it was.
Yeah, me and Vanessa Hudgens just welcomed our first child in my dreams too a few weeks ago as well.
Yes,
but I love Vanessa Hudgens. Now, digress. Whatever. This Angels team, let's beat them.
Okay, Let's move on to a part where we've got some voice memos. I'm going to let you play it into the mic, I think, James, for this one.
Okay.
And we'll respond. We didn't get as many because we didn't realize how difficult it was to
we
send
were a little
voice
stupid.
messages. Because, I don't know, someone sent me one. I was like, I didn't even know you could do that. Must be pretty easy. Turns out, very difficult. So we'll find a way to do this better for the future. But we got a couple, so let's play them.
I have 4 in my in the inbox right now.
All right, hit us with them.
First one, we'll give a shout out to the girl Bella. First voice message we're playing out in the formal segment for Mets'd.
Guys, I'm doing well. So I'm going to talk about the trade deadline. Stearns did a really great job.
Oh, I lost it.
Yeah, where'd it go? What happened?
He needed bullpen, so pitch rotation, outfield with Winker. But I wish he had bought another outfielder because Marte's supposed to come back. He's such a liability defensively, and his hitting isn't consistent. We saw in 2022 when he came back from injury that he just wasn't good. So I wish selfishly Mark Cannon, that's my poopy. I miss him. He's the best. He went to the Giants. Wish it was us. We could have used any outfielder that was competent defensively and could hit. So, yeah.
Nice.
Shout out Bella.
Gotta be our number one female fan. Gotta be.
I don't even think it's probably close with a few, but I think she's definitely up there. Bella's the best, but I do agree with her. I thought the Mets probably could have gotten a slightly better defensive outfield at the deadline, but I just think that David Stearns, I don't think he likes this because I have too much money tied up in Starling Marte next season as well to really make a meaningful trade there. Ben Gamble's still in the roster, but I think they're assuming Marte comes back by September. September, Ben Gamble can go back down, and then you have the best outfield depth then with Winker and Tyrone Taylor the Mets have had in years. So I think that was just the logic.
Yeah, and Winker might play over Marte anyway, just with the lefty-righty matchup too. He might just play Winker a lot more. And Marte probably still won't be able to play every day. So keep that in mind.
Of course, why would he? And Winker's also a bad fielder, and he's same as Marte, bad fielder, great arm, and better platoon splits.
Definitely. But shout out to Bella for that. We got another voice memo here, James. What's another one we got?
Yeah, we got a few more here. Big one. This is from our friend Connor. I hope it's clean. If it's not clean, we'll just cut this one. So.
Yeah, but there's a very good chance it won't be clean.
But clean could be variable. We'll see what Connor's got for us here.
So Jason Worth went on part of my take this week and literally just dumped all over the Mets, took a fat old shit all over them. He played for the Phillies and Nationals, obviously, famously, and he played the Mets for a very long time, so I can't really blame him. Mets should have someone in the locker room that listens to this podcast. It's super popular. It needs to be bulletin board material, just like the Salicata tweet for the Braves was in 2022. And I also still can't believe Salicata fucking did that. I know you don't want to do more on that, but fuck him. 7 ways to Sunday and twice on Sunday, actually. So let's fucking go, Mets.
Beautiful. Shout out Connor. That was a great voicemail.
Yeah, old Q. I
super agree with him.
I agree, but I also think when Salicata did that to the Braves, that was a low point in the season. So for the Mets right now, the vibes are pretty good, and they did show Sean Manaea going through and doing handshakes with literally
the ballerina stuff,
which was awesome. That was phenomenal. Love Sean Manaea and the vibes. That's not I think when the vibes are good, you don't need bulletin board material. I think when you need a little pep in your step, a little motivation, that's what happens. So I think that's probably why they wouldn't care.
I also don't think this Mets team is a bulletin board material team.
I don't think so either.
I don't think this is a team that will respond to that. I agree with them, though. It should have been, but that was also Jason Worth took a lot of shots at that era of the Mets. He also took a lot of shots at the Mets in general, says the Mets still do things like that. But I think this Mets team knows they do things like that, like have the theatrics, have everything do, and I don't think they hate that. But if this was a current Philly, I would really agree with this.
Well, kind of like Garrett Stubbs, how last year when they made the NLCS, he brought up the Mets, and you're like, that's weird. You're not playing the Mets, and then the Diamondbacks smoked them. So I don't know. That was kind of a weird comment.
But yeah, I listened to that Worth interview as well. I think I brought it up in the podcast a few episodes ago. Basically, just saying it really hurt a lot. That really killed 11, 12, 13-year-old James to relive those memories and hear about how confident the Phillies were that they were going to catch the Mets every one of those years. That sucked. And Worth also just kind of seems like he's becoming one of those, baseball was better in my day kind of guys.
A little Aubrey Huffish.
Just a genuine bit of an asshole. Not fully Aubrey Huff level, but
not like a bad person.
Yeah, definitely. Aubrey Huff is a horrible human. Yeah, miserable human. Jason Worth just seems like kind of a dick.
Yes,
which again, that's fine. assholes should be playing baseball. It's a good sport for assholes, but I don't think that anything would warm my heart more. I don't think it's super possible, but stranger things have happened. Mets bought 8 back in the division. Why not?
They were 17 back like a month ago. So
that's what I'm saying. This Phillies team isn't playing at their best right now. And I just said I think they had a relatively underwhelming deadline for how I think a team with the most wins in baseball should act at the trade deadline. So I'm with Connor. We've misdirected a lot of our hate recently.
Yes.
Fuck the Phillies.
Fuck the Phillies. Yeah. We focus on the Phillies and the Braves. Fuck them both. Hate them all.
Yeah.
Eat shit. All right. We have any more voicemails, or is it time to read out these reviews?
Got 2 more if you're willing to do 2 more.
Yeah, give us 2 more.
Got a boy Benjamin Steinberg here. Benjamin's a big time listener. He's a classic here. 1 minute long voice memo, so lock in.
So I have sort of like a random hot take that's based on how much the two of you guys gas up the farm system, pitching lab, and it's that with all of like the broken promises and hopes and dreams that we sustained with the previous generation of pitching prospects, DeGrom, Harvey, Syndergaard, Wheeler, Matz, and how the 5 of them never coalesced together. They never came together for sustained success. I think that some group of current Mets prospects, some group of 5 of them are going to come together and get closer to delivering on those promises than the previous pitching group did. I'm not saying that this group is going to become generationally amazing necessarily. I just think that there is probably a lot of room to have more sustained success than the previous group did, and that this group right now can maybe accomplish that.
That's interesting.
I disagree. Reason being is I think the Mets are just going to spend on pitching. It seems like that kind of also is a way that they might go as well, like trying to get a couple guys in the rotation that are going to be free, kind of like Sproat, Christian Scott, those guys. We also still haven't really seen enough of a lot. Like the pitching lab's going to take years. Like it's going to take time.
Yeah.
So even the guys that are getting juiced up in the organization right now, like the Jonah Tongs of the world, or even Brandon Sproat, like it has been like a year that these guys have been there. So we probably do need a little bit more time. You're probably never going to see what you saw with the Mets during that time with almost any organization ever again. That's a rare thing that happens where you can bring up 4 or 5 guys that are, high possibility, high ceiling stud pitchers.
I also think that there's probably a difference in the way that I bet David Stearns is thinking about developing pitching prospects versus the way a fan will interpret like pitching prospects that are being developed, where that was like, here's our rotation. Yes. These are 5 guys we developed and they are sick. Where David Stearns is like, I want 40 pitching prospects that I think that I can trust. But like, I know this is numbers game because I know, just like those guys, someone's getting hurt again, someone's popping a blister, someone might get dumped by a supermodel and do too much cocaine. We don't know what's going to happen. So I think that looking back on that era of the Mets and now seeing that basically only 2 of them wound up even having careers that were worthwhile, and only one of them has a career that no. DeGrom and Wheeler are going to have careers that everyone remembers forever. Yes. Wheeler's the only one who I think actually has a legitimate shot for the Hall of Fame, which is crazy to say because I think he does have a legitimate shot.
DeGrom's going to get a shot. I know he has.
DeGrom's going to get a shot, but DeGrom needs to do a lot more. If you mix those guys' careers together, you have a surefire Hall of Famer.
I mean, Wheeler has to do a lot more still too, but
yeah, a lot more still. He probably have to, but he's statistically speaking, I've said this before, he's one of the best playoff pitchers ever in terms of ERA, in terms of wins, in terms of WHIP, in terms of strikeout rate for a starting pitcher. So that's his team just has to get over the hump. And I think, sadly, I just said fuck the Phillies. There's a good chance to get over it kind of soon. I don't know, but like looking back and seeing the fact that like Syndergaard and Harvey completely fell apart and Mets never made himself into anything, it changes the way I look at that era of Mets pitchers a bit. Whereas this era, I think it gets more of just like numbers game, where we might not have that same pop off. We might just have more quantity.
And also the Mets, like they couldn't spend money. They like had to make these pitchers. They kind of like forced, like
wouldn't.
Shame on me. Wouldn't spend money. Mets wouldn't spend money. They could have. They did not. They chose not to. They were not willing to spend money. So they had to use their free pitchers when they could, and then they would spend their money on Bartolo Colon. So that was pretty much why I think also those 5 guys really did get the opportunity and shine like they did, and maybe didn't get traded like you might see nowadays, where if you have a big pitching prospect like a Steven Matz, who's a little more volatile, you probably ship him out now rather than be like, he's going to be here for 6 years.
Yeah. And again, why you trade a guy like Cade Morris and Tyler Stewart for upgrades right now at the deadline to make a playoff run.
All right. Play that last voice memo for us.
One more. Quick one. 13 seconds from Menor TRD.
All right.
I don't know.
Hey guys, shout out from Puerto Rico.
Whoa.
What moves do you like to see the Mets do in the offseason? Other than signing Pete Alonso, what would you like to see them do?
Shout out.
Messed up international, kind
international.
of.
Well, yeah, they're international. They're international.
Yeah.
I know they're technically part of America, but Puerto Rico is its own country. Shout out Puerto Rico.
That's amazing. Shout out Puerto Rico.
I mean, the big one that has been floating around recently, I think, is people are pretty confident that the Mets are going to sign Corbin Burns. That they think that reunion's almost a guarantee. That is what John Harper, our favorite old man reporter, was saying. That especially because the Mets just saved $18 million from Justin Verlander's vesting option that they're not going to have to spend. And they're saying that, or at least John Harper is saying, I don't know the truth that's behind his words, but you know what? I'm going to give him credit when it goes positive for the Mets here, is that he thinks David Stearns is like, yeah, we're getting Corbin Burns next year, and all the offseason money's going towards him.
I also think that weirdly, the Orioles getting Zach Eflin, taking his money, is a little bit insurance for Corbin Burns. Yes. I don't know how much money they're willing to spend. I know the new owners are super rich. They have no reason not to spend the money because they haven't really spent on anybody, but they have a lot of position players they will have to pay a fuck ton of money eventually to keep around. But I could also see Alex Bregman might have played himself out of like a very serious contract. I bet the Mets kick tires on him if they can get him for 3 years or fewer.
And that would be if Pete Alonso's not there.
And yes, and Vientos goes to first. And now we get a huge defensive upgrade, which we know David Stearns would love to do.
And then you have Pete, Vientos DHs, and Alex Bregman plays third.
You could do that, or you mix Pete and Vientos at DH, and when the other guy plays first. I think those are all
maybe Pete doesn't play much first base after this year.
Yeah, so I think those are all really possible things. But like past that, it's hard to think about next free agency because like I don't know, like we'll see what happens to Severino. We're going to offer him a qualifying contract. We'll know if we're getting him back. Gleyber Torres has fully worked his way off the Yankees. Now saying he refuses to play third base. We're going to need third base. He's not in play, so I'm going to say that. If you lose Pete, I can see Christian Walker being a pivot. I can see Rhys Hoskins being a pivot. A lot of options for the Mets.
A lot of options. And things change as the season goes on, so we'll have to wait and see. But those are some quick names that we'll throw at you. And now let's read out a couple podcast reviews here to wrap up this episode. I think we finished with what did we finish with the last time? Did we do Pat Stats, Rex Grant? I think we did those guys, right?
No, you did someone whose name you liked. I think you skipped the first few because you said you like some. Oh, Frankie Peppers.
I liked Frankie Peppers, yeah.
Oh, Frankie Peppers said leave me a voice memo today. He didn't do it. All right, we'll get Frankie Peppers next one.
We got to stay on top of Frankie Peppers. All right, I think we didn't read this one. Polyglot TXT, 5 stars. What are you playing out here?
I was going on my Instagram and I just saw Pat, our buddy Pat's engagement post.
Shout out to Pat. Congratulations.
Shout out Pat. Oh, wait. Breaking news. I got the voice memo from Frankie Peppers.
Okay, and you know what? No shout out to reviews on this episode. Frankie Peppers gets to end it.
Frankie Peppers. We'll read you guys' reviews next time, so keep dropping those 5-star reviews. But we will read all of them. It might just not be now because this episode is long. We've heard you guys like the long episodes, so maybe we'll do that. But it just takes a while to edit, so hold on. Here's Frankie Peppers, live and in person, kind of.
Gentlemen, this is Frankie Peppers.
Yes.
Never sent an Instagram like this before. From doing it right. You think I am? I hope I am. Love the pod. Something I like to do when I listen to the pod. I always listen to it around dinner time, right? I'll make dinner enough for 3 people. I have these pictures of the 2 of you that I printed out, keeping a little folder near my dinner table. And every time I listen to the pod, I take out your pictures. I tape them to the seat. And we all talk about the Mets together, you 2 on the pod, and then I talk to you who are doing the pod. It's like we're all in the room together. It's really nice. So really appreciate what you're doing. Let's go Mets. Francisco Lindor. I think it's Francisco Lindor is him. I know you say that pretty often, so I think that's good. Keep up the good work, gentlemen. Hope to talk to you soon. Let's go Mets.
I love Frankie Peppers.
Shout out this Frankie guy. Peppers. We're going to have to fulfill Frankie Peppers. Just have dinner with him one night. He makes food for 3, so we'll be able to eat.
I don't know if I should be flattered or scared.
I think a little bit of both. I think that's the goal.
A little bit of both, but that's the Frankie Peppers experience. This might be the greatest character in Messed Up lore ever.
Easily. It's not even close.
And you know what?
Frankie Peppers.
That voice, the sound, everything, that I couldn't have dreamed a better situation.
We need someone to be either Frankie Peppers' rival or Frankie Peppers' confidant to come in with a nickname with onions soon.
Yes.
So someone think about Peppers developing that character. Tommy Onions.
Yeah, Oliver Onions. I don't know, something like that.
No, I don't like Oliver. No. Ali Onions is pretty strong.
But shout out Frankie Peppers. Yes, Francisco Lindor is him, and electric. I almost want to end every episode with Frankie Peppers just giving us a little something.
Yeah, invitation's open if he wants to do it, but great episode.
Great episode, guys. You know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe over on YouTube. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Mets'd. Follow James on Twitter at Mr. 10K over here.
James_Shiano.
And I'm Draftnik Mark with a C. We will catch you after the Angel series. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. See you next time. Let's go Mets.